All right, let's talk about something anyone who manages a commercial space has had to deal with, making your walls look amazing. But what's the real cost? Today, we're going way beyond the initial quote to look at the entire life cycle of wall graphics. This is going to be eye-opening. Okay, so you've been there, right? Two quotes for that big, beautiful graphic for your main entrance land on your desk. One is just cheaper. And that number, it really jumps off the page. It's so tempting to just go with that one. But is the cheapest option up front really the best value in the long run? That's the big question we're going to unpack today. So we're basically looking at two main contenders here. On one side, you have your traditional vinyl wraps. You've seen them a million times. They're printed on big sheets and stuck to the wall with adhesive. And on the other side, you've got this newer technology, direct-to-wall printing. It's exactly what it sounds like. A specialized printer literally prints the image right onto the surface of the wall. Two totally different ways to get the job done. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. We have to look past that initial price tag, because honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The true cost has a lot more to do with all the hidden factors you don't see on the quote. The real cost? Well, it's a mix of all of this. Think about it. What's the cost of having to shut down part of your office or retail space for the installation? What about when a panel is printed wrong and you need a total redo? Or the constant worry about peeling, bubbling, and repairs? And then what happens when you need to take it down? These are the things that can make that cheap option a whole lot more expensive down the road. The first place you'll see a massive difference between these two is right from the get-go, the installation process. And this isn't just about putting something on the wall. This is really the first major test of how much it's going to cost you in time, money, and sheer disruption. Let's just walk through the traditional vinyl process for a second because, wow, it's a lot. First, everything's printed somewhere else. Then it has to be shipped to your location. Your wall has to be perfectly prepped, maybe even skim-coated. Then comes the really tricky part. Installers have to line up every single panel perfectly, trim the edges, create seams, and use heat guns to try and stop bubbles from forming. And here's the kicker. If just one panel gets damaged or misprinted, the whole project can grind to a halt. Now, take all of those steps we just talked about and just forget about them. With direct-to-wall printing, the whole process is completely different. It's a single operation that happens right there, on site. The machine shows up, gets set up, and it prints your graphic directly onto your wall. That's it. All those steps for shipping, panel alignment, and seaming, they just disappear. And this case study really drives the point home. Look at this, a 60-foot corridor. To get that wrapped in vinyl, you're looking at a team of installers working 1, maybe 2 full nights. That's overtime pay, that's closing the area, that's dealing with fumes from the adhesives. The direct-to-wall crew, they can be in and out in less than 5 hours, during normal business hours, with pretty much no smell and minimal disruption. The impact on your actual operations is just night and day. Okay, so the install is one thing. But what happens over the next few months or even years? How do these graphics actually stand up to the wear and tear of a busy environment? Let's talk about the long haul, durability. This is where the physical nature of these two options really starts to matter. Vinyl's biggest weakness is its edges and seams. In a busy hallway, they're just waiting to get snagged by a cart or scuffed by a shoulder, and then they start to peel. Humidity can make the adhesive give up, and you have to be careful cleaning it. Direct-to-wall printing, on the other hand, doesn't have any edges to catch. The ink is cured right into the wall, so it's super resilient. You can clean it aggressively. And it even works perfectly on textured surfaces like brick, something vinyl really struggles with. And this quote from the source material absolutely nails it. The whole game comes down to how the graphic attaches to the wall. Vinyl depends on a layer of glue and a bunch of seams, and those are basically built-in weak spots just waiting to fail. So logically, if you can get rid of the adhesive and the seams, you get rid of the most common points of failure. Sooner or later, every graphic reaches the end of its life. Maybe you're rebranding, or maybe you're just ready for a fresh look. How that graphic comes down is a huge, and I mean huge, part of its total cost that most people never think about. So let's ask the question, right? When that graphic has done its job and it's time for something new, what are you left with? Where does all that stuff actually go? Well, with vinyl, you're left with a whole pile of waste. You've got the PVC film itself, you've got sticky adhesive residue you might need chemicals to remove, plus all the packaging and scraps from the installation. And the worst part? A lot of the time, the adhesive rips the paper right off the drywall itself, meaning you have to spackle and repair the wall itself, and all of that material is heading straight to the landfill. So what about the end of life for a direct-to-wall graphic? It could not be more different. Or simpler. There's no scraping, no chemicals, no waste, no damaged walls. You just paint over it. A coat of primer, a coat of paint, and you have a fresh wall ready for whatever's next. It really is that easy. So let's bring this all home. When you step back and look at the entire life cycle, from the very first day of installation, through years of use, all the way to its final removal, you start to see a very, very different picture of the true cost. And that's what experts call the total cost of ownership. It isn't just that first price you paid. It's the sum of every single cost. Money, time, headaches, disruptions that you'll spend over the entire time you have that graphic on your wall. And when you start thinking in terms of that total cost of ownership, the real savings drivers become incredibly clear. You save huge on labor and business downtime. You eliminate shipping costs and delays. You basically get rid of repair costs because there are no seams to fail. You create zero landfill waste, and you can get a perfectly consistent result across dozens or even hundreds of locations. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The next time you look at your walls, what do you see? Do you just see a decoration, or do you see an operational decision? A decision that has real, long-term consequences for your budget, your timeline, and even your company's impact on the environment. Thinking about it that way, well, it might just change how you see your space forever.